So the drive home was okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is good because when I left, the highway was backed up all the way from Abbotsford to the Highway of Heroes signs.
Sheesh.
I have no idea why. But when I put in home, it only said 58 minutes, I think. It was less than an hour, and I was like, holy crap.
Nice. Did you do a little happy dance?
Yeah, it's so nice seeing less
this
than an
is
hour and a half.
This is now, traffic's thinned out quite a bit, and Yvonne's drive back is way better.
Great.
Way, way, way better. I'd go with you, but I don't want to die. So
by the time I get to the highway from Vancouver, it's a half hour.
Nice.
I know, right?
Nice.
Usually I still have 50 minutes once I get to the highway.
I didn't get any kind of a break today. It was kind of, I kept my bachelor time. Wife's got his bachelor time.
Doesn't really count when they're still kids, eh?
Well, single dad time then.
There you go.
So there's that. All right, so we're back. I'm trying to figure out a time of day to do this that's earlier, but there isn't an earlier when I'm not doing videos. Like, even before you come home, there's 3 boards I've done for tomorrow's videos for THG.
Nice.
So, and there's 2 more here that I'm going to get done up, so that's probably 5 videos I'm going to punch out tomorrow.
And tomorrow we have the live stream as well.
Right. So, that's my whole days.
Something else tomorrow too.
I don't know. I can't think of anything else.
Tomorrow too. Oh, we have grocery delivery. That's
no,
right.
You have to go pick it up.
Right. Well, yeah.
Yeah, you have to go pick that up. Because there's 4 more cases of pop. So.
Like, do they tell us what time it's at or something?
Yeah, it's in my email.
Is it like with the fabric where you'll get an email and say your order's ready to pick up?
Oh, I don't know about that. But I know there's a time.
Okay.
So it's like an hour. It's from Walmart. So you just... You shop from home. It was just Walmart was only a couple of days, whereas Save On was, good luck. Good luck. So... For my mom, I could probably get Walmart to deliver it to her place. It costs $10 for delivery, but it's easier than us driving all the way there and trying to drop stuff off and do the shopping and everything. So.
And I'm not going into a store.
No.
Not doing it.
No, agreed. Online shopping's the way to go. All right.
You saw the graft I showed you, right?
The graft?
Graft. We're not
graft.
grafting.
I don't know. I don't know what kind of...
The graph.
I don't know what kind of grafting
for
you'd be showing
BC.
me. Yeah.
How it's mostly all out here now.
Yeah.
Vancouver numbers are way down. Valley numbers are.
Makes sense. But a lot of that's gonna be mission corrections too.
I don't know. I saw that they might not be counting that number because that's federal.
I guess. But either way, I'm not going out. So.
Agreed.
It's been 5 weeks. I'm really kind of hitting my stride now that I know that I've got enough soda pop to last me for the next 6 weeks. I'm good. And we can still get food delivered, and there hasn't been a single instance that I've seen where food deliveries caused anybody to get sick. They even said it's very, very slight. Almost no chance. Mm-hmm. So, and restaurants are being really careful because they're already down. What I was seeing in the news today was that the ones that eat in restaurants, they've lost as much as like 90% of their business. Because it's all delivery and pickup and yeah. So in these trying times, it's time for me to start reading again. Mike pilots the shuffle, finds his hands are shaking as he heads towards Arcology 1237. It's not lost on him how important this truly is. Things are in motion now. All the players appear to be ready to make their move. He knows things that others do not, and the power truly rests with him. Even in the brief... Let's see... Yeah, I'm making sure I'm in the right spot. I'm like, am I in the right spot? Yeah. Even in the brief period he's been gone, the arcology's been altered. The windows are now mostly covered by high-grade steel. The Winnipeg name's been covered with a new one. Apparently, Earth's opted to call this Terran Force 1. Like the name, he says, and the others nod in silent agreement. The guns are plentiful, and there is one laser cannon mounted on top, which was known for its agricultural uses and its rich gardens up until now. The oxygen-producing plants are still there, but they're supplemented by life support systems attached to the side of the Arcology's solar panels. It's a warship now, John says. I don't know how we hide this from the Altillians when they start to come here. Allison plans to lead them to another Arcology, which has been made to look exactly like this one did when they were here. I guess she even added blood spatter for effect, and has some fools from the media there believing they're in the right spot. The misinformation about the true 1237 has already started, and it'll become more elaborate to fool the public. It's all for its own good anyway. Alltel needs to think you're helpless and not know about this, Mike says as he pulls an electronic device from the breast pocket of his flight jacket. What's that? Steve asks. This is the closest you can get to being cloaked. I know your people have had fantasies about being invisible, but I bring bad news for you on that one. We've never been able to master cloaking in that manner, and neither of the Altilians. If they had, I'd be long dead, and so would all of you. Mike explains. It's odd to hear someone say that after all these years, Addison says with a heavy sigh. I'm trying not to feel deep regret here, but it keeps eating away at me. Mike pats Addison on the shoulder as the shuttle goes into an automated docking mode with Terran Force 1 to meet with Division 1237. This device here, once installed within the Arcology's power systems, will make it radar invisible to the Altilians. We've been able to get scout ships through defense grids that way. Unfortunately, since our leadership doesn't believe in war, it hasn't been truly useful strategically until now. I brought about 5 of these things with me when I left Falteri's. I figured I need them more than they do anyway. Rob grabs it from Mike and looks it over. Okay, so your people are way ahead of ours. I don't get why we're willing to go to war and your people aren't. It just doesn't make sense since you know what they've done and what they're going to do if they get the chance. Mike takes back the cloaking device. Careful there, kid. These things are rather fragile. As for my world being cowardly, I wish I had a good answer for that. Once I'm done here, though, there's no way they'll be able to stay out of this war. I'm going to drag them kicking and screaming into the middle of it. I do it because there really isn't any other choice. They clearly think there's another choice, Addison interrupts. I know all too well from Conley how this works. They started burning villages down, and some still wanted to try and reason them out of it. There was a belief they had to be reasonable on some level. They tried various meetings, treaty agreements that Alltel always broke. No matter how far they went with their crap, there was always someone there willing to reason their way out of it. I guess my world and yours are alike that way. Mike shakes his head. Nah, my planet has really big guns, he says with a chuckle. The man has a point, John adds, while the ship completes the docking procedure and they hear the door to the airlock click. It's John who heads out of the shuttle and back into what had been Arcology 1237 and is now Terran Force 1. The numbering was encouraging, meaning they were likely transforming other Arcologies into warships. Carissa and Nathan greet the visitors into the Arcology at the exit. Well, new arrivals I see, Carissa says while eyeing up the brothers stepping out of the shuttle. John nods. Carissa, I brought my brothers. These are Jim, Steve, and Rob. This is Addison Marks, who's apparently our father. I would have brought my mother, but she insisted on staying behind. I have no idea why, but I don't ask my mother questions about decisions she makes. It's just better that way, Steve says with a wink at Carissa. So where does a guy have to go to sign up for Division 1237? Rob rolls his eyes. That's a new record for him. Whole 30 seconds without hitting on the blonde. Next scene. Marianne Webster knows there are things at work here. She excused herself from Dave Bellow's office without incident. He's far too worried about her boys and the secrets they hold, not to mention the death and destruction of their science division. It's all part of the master plan in action. She remembered the way back. This is what she had to do, after all. She was brought to this facility to have truths revealed to her. Blair Drake was simply a vessel to bring truth to her before he was disposed of by her hero son, Jim. Her journey is at a turning point. It means taking the path more dangerous but also potentially more rewarding since she's doing God's work. Inspired words have flowed through her. She has seen her words on the page, delivered directly from God. She has been pointed towards this moment, and she knows her sons will understand why she did this. Even as she slinks her way through the corridor after corridor further into danger, she knows this is the right move for her. The dead bodies don't bother her as she starts heading into lower floors. The blood doesn't bother her either. She has spent years of her life preparing for this. Certainly, she always believed the cleansing would be a messy one. Now that she's been proven right about how special her kids were, she had no doubt that this was all part of the master plan, and dealing with dead bodies and blood was just part of what was going on to get to this point. During her time with Blair Drake and the boys, she had never truly worried for her life. Her soul was pure, so she would be taken to the right place if she died anyways. Now that she had lived, she's more confident than ever in herself. These are the end times, and she's going to help the world in its darkest hour. Usually there'd be security blocking her from the lower levels. Usually, she'd be headed off in question, but the building's in chaos right now, and she's managed to reach the level where the carnage occurred. The same one Jim had met the deranged doctor on. As she steps onto that level, down seemingly endless stairwells, she realizes this is the place she dreamed of many times over. In her dreams, an angel revealed to her a starting point from which the cleansing of the world would originate. At the center of the first room she enters, Marianne finds what she believes is a gift from God. These are vials of the stuff here. There are vials of the stuff here. Labels tell her this is made from material discovered in Archaeology 1237, so this is exactly what's needed for the cleansing to begin. She starts filling her coat pockets as well as her jean pockets. These vials will provide that which she needs in order to begin the cleansing of the world. The angel wants her to do this, and God is demanding it. Once she's collected as much as she can, Marianne heads back out the door. She got what she came for. There's no need to investigate further. This will help her make things right on the planet. Soon the cleansing begins, and then those who are righteous can be raptured away to a better place. This is as it should be. As she finds an exit from the building and steps out in the midday sun, she looks skyward. Lord, you've blessed me greatly this day. Send me the right people to enable me to begin the cleansing as it was meant to be. This is an amazing time, Lord. In the end days, you've chosen me to bring about the finish of it all. Protect my boys and take care of those who belong with you. I am your humble servant, Lord, she says with a slight bow to the sky. She had never felt more secure, more satisfied, or more right about anything in her life. And that's the end of that chapter. So into chapter 8 we go. Gora stands on the bridge of his flagship with pride. He hasn't found a name for this warship. He cannot imagine a word which captures just how amazing it truly is. It is a ship that he uses for trips such as this one. It is, to the untrained eye, simply a larger version of the flying discs that Altalians use as fighters. It might be a typical design, and it might disappoint Earthlings as being unoriginal, but it is simply efficient, sleek, and aerodynamic. Not that aerodynamics matter in space. The ship was designed as an ambassador's craft, the ship was designed as much as an ambassador's craft as it was for war. The flagship had been put in use in the subjugation of Altair. It had been used to inspire fear and to bring a quick end to hostilities with Altil on top. Geyer had commanded the ship then as Gora commanded it now, though this was a more subtle form of planetary control they were after. The mere sight of the ship would cause many Earthlings to give serious pause. The fact Voltairies would be watching too was a benefit. Gora viewed this mission as the most important in his time as leader of Altil. This was one mission where he could feel his father looking down on him with pride, one where he was taking initiative and looking to bring the reign of humans to an end. This was the time to prove the superiority of his people by any means necessary. The engines ran silent on this machine, and, to Gora, that made it all the more menacing. It ran silent to the world outside as well as to those inside. It was designed for stealth as well as for attack. It was second to none, and that was likely why a proper name had never really been given for this ship, one which could capture its amazing abilities. Sabal is seated in front of Gora, staring out at the stars and anxiously awaiting the jump to Earth. He is actually surprisingly nervous. He considers himself above such trivial emotion, but it nags at him all the same. He's impressed with this ship Gora has, but he's glad to have the fighters in their landing bays ready to be called into action at a moment's notice. He has learned the hard way that a slam dunk isn't always as it appears. The ship moves forward and emanates a large energy field before it, which distorts space-time and creates a wormhole that will bring them into Earth's orbit. It moves through the wormhole, and the crew hold their collective breaths as they emerge on the other side, those with their hands at weapons control ready to open fire as need be. Gora specified the location of their meeting with the Earthlings had to be Archaeology 1237. This had to be the spot where they began their control over the hearts and minds of the Earthlings. They were simple creatures, so an empty gesture like this should sway many of them against the concept of war. The ship emerges at the coordinates provided by Earth's leaders, and there's an Archaeology present when they emerge from the jump. Is that it? Gora asks Sabal while pointing at the Archaeology ahead of them. Sabal stands and narrows his eyes while peering towards the object before them. I believe so. It has the name Winnipeg scrawled across it, the code name for the place. Earthlings are very sentimental and give these tin cans names associated with cities on the planet below. It's really pathetic. Gora looks over at Ver, who's leaning against the wall next to the exit from the bridge. What move should we make here? Send out a greeting, let them know we're here. Seem like we're waiting patiently for them, Ver suggests as he steps away from the wall and towards Gora. Gora sighs. I hate this. We can destroy these simple-minded fools. The fact they sent us sent us to the very scene of the crime proves how stupid they are. Sabal smiles. If this is Arcology 1237, they may have left behind the murder weapon, too. I want to track down my research and maybe refine it a little. Are you stupid? Gora asks, his nostrils flaring while his face wrinkles downward. It's never a pretty sight when an Altilian gets upset. Their highly elastic muscles and bone structure allow their faces to morph dramatically when they're fighting any negative emotion. A full frown or scowl causes much of their face to disappear into the rolls of skin and fat. Sabal, you forget you're not yourself here and now. You have to be someone else. Sabal looks towards the arcology, his research so close he can almost touch it. It's the key to wiping out their kind without firing a shot. It's genius, my lord. It's foolhardy, Ver says as he stands at the side of Gora. He's right. You can't go anywhere near the air ducts or try to reach the area you occupied. If they see that they're being fooled here, it'll leave us at war. Not only that, but it will undoubtedly leave us exposed to Falteries as well. It's my research, Sabal insists. Let it go, Sabal, Gora says as his eyes narrow. I'll leave you here. I'm not putting this mission in jeopardy because of your pride. Sabal reluctantly but wisely nods and drops the subject. The communications officer then turns to Gora. My lord, they're giving us clearance to dock with Arcology 1237. From the information provided by Sabal, I've judged this has to be the right Arcology. The Earthlings are unlikely to try deception here, as they haven't had the time for that since Sabal and his forces retreated. I did not retreat, Sabal growls. Apologies, Commander, the communications officer says with a slight bow towards Sabal. Let's go and make friends, Gora says before turning to Sabal. If you can't let this go, let me know. I'd hate to be forced to kill you during a peaceful mission. I've let it go, my lord, Sabal lies as they move together towards the elevator that will take them one step closer to what they believe is Arcology 1237.
There's a spider. There it is.
Yeah, there's my buddy.
Hey, Shannon.
No, what?
The cup is right there.
Yeah, it's over there.
Please get
He's
the
right
spider
there.
before it runs again.
I'm thinking there's a few
Shannon,
spiders.
I'm sure. Okay, can you grab the darn spider before it runs? Shannon?
What? He's my friend.
You didn't do it yesterday. No, just grab the cup is right there.
I'm just gonna pause, and I'll deal with the spider.
Okay.
I don't think we had to get rid of him. I don't think we had to get rid of him. I put him outside. Poor little guy.
He's not a poor little guy.
He stands at my side. He does. He just stands next to my feet like, hey, what's going on? How you doing? What's up? Have you ever seen that meme that was going around where they show the spider and going, hey, you know, I was freezing to death outside. I hope you don't mind that I'm staying in your house and I'm just never mind. Yeah, you can just crush my wife and kids. That's fine too.
No.
Because I always feel bad for the spider in those ones. They show a picture of a spider in a house and it's just him thinking, hey, it was really cold out and why are you coming at me with a newspaper? Just like he's this poor clueless spider. Poor little guy.
Okay. It's not like it's a little spider.
Yes, he was. He wasn't that big.
It's one of the kind that grow up to be big spiders.
Yeah, and he
was
wasn't
only
that
a
yet.
medium-sized spider.
And I'm making friends. I'm impressing myself upon the spider. So that when he's older... I could
impress myself upon the spider, too.
When he's older,
Smush.
he will teach other spiders to follow my guidance.
So you could have a little spider army?
Yes.
Or?
Yes.
That's frightening.
It's fantastic.
Then we just have to burn the whole house down.
Burn your house down.
It's the same house.
We'll see about that if you're going to start burning my spiders.
Solved.
All right. So one last scene and then we'll close her up for today. Now that the spider's been sadly put outside. He'll come back. I'll open the window for him tonight. He'll come back. Alison Hannon's taking deep breaths and trying to remain as calm as possible. It's days like today where she wonders why she didn't just opt into any other kind of work. Maybe she could have become a successful shop owner by now. Maybe she could have been a good writer or an actor. This line of work just seems insanely dangerous right now. Senator Brent Decker was to her right, and Special Operations Officer Chris Warren stands to her left. There's a large number of men and women here posing as everyday citizens, though they're all military personnel of some sort. They're aware of the dangers involved here, and they've all agreed that they will do whatever it takes to ensure the safety of their world. They're standing next to the space dock they've designated for their homicidal visitors. Everyone's in their place and are already acting as people should when they're going about their day-to-day business on levels of 1237 that were not affected by the insanity which plagued other levels of the ship. Extreme attention to detail has been given to ensure this looks as authentic as possible, including the explosion left behind when the human bomb decided to set himself off before making an exit. Allison has her cover story ready for why there are people here when the news is reporting the arcology has been emptied. She doesn't know if they'll believe the story any more than she'll believe any of theirs. This is a risky game of chess being played here, and one Allison feels finally establishes her as a leader and not just a voice of the people of the earth. She's still very frightened, as she knows she can't show her it'll prove a fatal flaw to her and everyone else here. The former arcology 1237 is on the other side of the planet. Its electronic signal has been changed. Should the Italians try to track down the signal for that arcology, it'll lead them here. Everything is perfect because it has to be. If there are any holes in their story, any inaccuracies in what's here as opposed to what's there, Earth could very well be doomed. Here we go, Brent says as the shuttle emerges from the massive Altilian disk. The shuttle is rather boring in its design. Simple square shape that is both unattractive and the opposite of aerodynamic. It only has one window at the front that proves it's got beings inside of it instead of cargo. Of course, that doesn't rule out suicide bombers. Though he was a senator and long-serving one at that, Brent wasn't a real believer in people. He had been shown at a young age that people were flawed and wrong on the inside. He'd been raised by his adoptive parents, and not very nice ones at that. He lived in fear and anguish until he'd been old enough to escape that existence. The ugly side of people was too well known to him. When the arcology massacres began becoming public knowledge, these events hadn't shocked Brent. He had known what men and women on this planet were capable of in their darkest hours. He'd seen it, but the tipping point was finding out his daughter was exposed to this carnage. He had raised Tanya to be cynical and suspecting of others, but she'd avoided his paranoid delusions and become a good woman. He knew in his heart that he could be a better man, but he wasn't home much when she was growing up and didn't see the good side of him. She didn't see the good side of him when he was around. It was very hard to be a good parent without having been raised by one himself. He would try to say nice things, but more cynicism would come out instead. Once he'd been a teenager, Brent was pretty well given up. Once she had become a teenager, Brent had given up on becoming a parent altogether. He felt nannies would do a better job of raising her than he could, so he made reasons to stay away and had more meetings than anyone else in the Senate. It made him the first choice to stand next to Allison Hannon right now, but the last possible choice for Father of the Year. As he stands next to Allison and Chris now, he thinks of his daughter. He wants Tanya to be proud of him. He wants to pull this ruse off to help his people. The rest of his planet shouldn't pay for his screwed up childhood. His daughter should be the last of her name as a badge of should see her last name as a badge of honor. Chris Warren's one of the senior officers within Special Operations. He'd heard word from Dave Bellows about the fate of the Science Division, but he has to keep that quiet for now. It's the disaster within their building which could undo this entire plot if it gets back to the media and then was filtered through to the Altilians. There'd been rumors within Special Operations team there were things going on within the headquarters that were unnatural, that those within the Science Division were abusing their power. That didn't surprise Chris as he dealt with Blair Drake years ago and found the guy to be a complete jerk. He had told him that to his face too. Though the rumors had been there, Chris was nevertheless shocked that they proved to be true, and to know just how deep the corruption ran. The revelation that someone else may have been above Blair Drake on the food chain was even more startling. They were falling down the rabbit hole and no one could tell how deep they might fall. The shuttle moves closer and it becomes clear there are 3 aliens making their way to the fraudulent arcology 1237. There's no emotion apparent on their faces from the window next to the docking port. Altilians, being as strange as they are to Earthlings, made this observation hard to prove, though. Maybe they show emotion differently than humans do. Allison felt her heart would jump out of her throat and land right at the feet of the visiting aliens as they step onto their arcology. She hopes her lungs, throat, and other internal organs work together to prevent a sudden oral cardiac springboard exit. It would make for quite the conversation piece, and it would be a good icebreaker, but she would be dead. Allison dabs her forehead with the cuff of her jacket and is glad to find no sweat there. This was all about outward appearances. The dock clicks as the Altilian shuttle meets the arcology. Since it was highly unlikely that their shuttles were built with the same docking mechanism that Earth's were, this was a sign they modified their ship to match the technology of those they were visiting. This realization actually unnerves Allison, though she can't put a finger on why. The door slowly opens, and the 3 Altilian visitors barge onto the arcology, all 3 looking around at the bustling population going about their daily business. There are people living here? One asks before he catches himself. He extends a web hand towards Allison. Miss Hannon, I am Gora. She accepts the cold handshake of Gora and does her best not to recoil at his touch. His eyes are cold, and she tries to avoid their gaze without being obvious about it. She would look at his forehead or his mouth if they weren't equally upsetting. I'm glad we can meet like this so soon after what happened, she says, as she and her party lead the Altilians down the corridor towards a makeshift boardroom. I felt it was important to meet before this whole war nonsense gets off the ground, Gora explains, while he darts a glance towards Sabal. Sabal sees everything is in place and it all looks the same. Even lights that didn't work when he was here don't work now. The people are dressed the same and the stars outside the window look like they should. He just can't shake the feeling something's different. But asking about what was different would give away that he'd been here before, and their secret would be revealed far too early on. For Ver, he's busy studying the motions of those passing him by. He can find nothing unusual in their movements, complete with the double takes they do when seeing such alien faces. This is how they should react to something strange in their eyes. He's surprised with how wide the hallways are on this ship and how tall the ceilings are as well. The architecture is impressive for such a primitive species as they're dealing with. You said you have proof that your people did not support the actions on this arcology, Allison says with surprising calm as she leads them to what had been a squash court and now is a boardroom. The aluminum along the back wall is the only indicator it had once been a squash court prior to the arrangement of this meeting. The Earthlings sit on one side of the table, the Altilians sit on the other. It's 3 on each side, perfect balance between the two, which are being equally deceptive with one another. The chess match continues. That's the end of that scene. So there you go. Everybody's in place. We're getting ready for a pretty big blow-off that ended off this book. And then part 3, of course, it's just full-blown chaos. But that's what we're leading towards. So, the spider is sadly outside. So for people who watch the MLB The Show live stream, the spider was in that as well. He's now outside, so I'm sure there's others. Oh, there's one. I'm sure there will be others.
There always is. We always have so many spiders. Where we live, the part of the world we live in, we have a ton of spiders.
And they're either wolf spiders or cellar spiders.
Herkin. Cellar spiders, they're huge, but their body's tiny. And so they just look creepy.
The only alarming thing with wolf spiders
are frightening.
They run and they jump.
They do. And they can be huge. I have found huge ones.
They're not poisonous,
before,
though.
But they can still bite you.
Yeah, but they're not poisonous.
No, the black house spiders are the poisonous ones.
What black house spiders?
Black house spiders.
I've never seen a black house spider.
I have.
They're all either wolves or daddy longlegs.
Daddy longlegs aren't spiders.
I know, but they're qualified as spiders by people. So
they're not spiders, though.
I know they're not actually spiders. Just saying we think of them the same way.
We don't, though.
I do.
Because daddy longlegs are nice.
I wouldn't say nice. What was not nice about that spider? What was he doing that wasn't nice?
Running around the floor.
He enjoys the floor.
Daddy longlegs don't run around the floor. They stay outside.
No, they come in the house.
No, they don't.
Sure they do.
No, they don't.
Uh-huh.
No.
I've had daddy longlegs in the house. Not in this house, but I've seen them in a house.
They very rarely come inside the house because there's nothing for them to eat in here.
See, and that's the thing too.
Dead plants.
If you have enough spiders, it's just as good as a Roomba, and it's all biodegradable, and they'll keep your floor nice and clean, and it gives the room ambiance.
No, it's ambiance.
I don't see the big deal.
I'd have spider nightmares.
I don't see the big deal. They're just as good as a Roomba.
No, what are you talking
They're
about?
nature's Roomba. There you go.
There's your hashtag that's for tonight. That's not a thing.
Yes.
You just make crap up as you go.
Spiders are nature's Roomba.
It's not a thing.
They will walk around your house. They'll pick up your trash and your dust and all that, and they'll clean it all up for you. They will.
When your spider's slacking.
Well, because you need to let me get the big ones. So if I could get a couple tarantulas and just have them in the room here. Tarantulas don't bite unless you startle them.
It's too cold for tarantulas.
You're too cold for tarantulas.
Can do.
See, there you go. There's a reason you don't have to worry about tarantulas. The only thing is they'd crawl into our bed because our bed's warm. So.
You. I don't think Bear would appreciate that.
What, the tarantula?
Yeah.
They're similar color.
I don't think she'd appreciate
Brown?
that.
Be fine.
No, that's gross.
Be good. Don't they squeal too, tarantulas?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Ew.
Anyways, there you go. You guys are all caught up on where I'm at in my book, and I've got all the ideas going through my head on how to restart the books and when to restart the books.
This is silliness.
So I'll figure that out. You know,
just
while I'm
change it.
doing all the yes. Oh, absolutely. I've already figured out like 3 books for each generation, and just like have 3 different generations. Start with the Mike generation, and then go to his kid. Because when I was writing the books originally, I did have his son became the main character, and Mike had passed away. So, in between books, I had that Mike actually passed away, and the next generation was taking over. So, yeah. So there we go. All right. Thank you guys so much for all your support. That's your reading done for tonight. And
Looks super pale
we'll continue
today.
it again. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I did turn the light down a bit.
Super pale looking.
But that's just how it is. All right. So thanks for all your support. Remember, stay home, stay safe, wash your hands, all the useful information.
Don't be stupid.
And yeah.
That's good.
We're all going to get through this. The numbers seem to be getting better. Depending where you're at, the numbers seem to be getting better in a lot of places. So as long as we do this right, we come through this absolutely perfect on the other side. And hopefully with as little suffering as humanly possible. But from now until then, I'll be here doing videos for you fine people. And my wife will be making masks for pretty much everybody. I think that's the way it's going to work. So, yeah.
A lot of people, but...
Yvonne makes all the masks at gmail.com. I think that's what we should have an email.
No. No, it's not a thing.
Yvonne is the greatest mask maker and can make 10,000 a day at gmail.com.
That's also not a thing.
I think we can make that work. All right. Those emails might change when I actually set them up, but we'll set them up and put them on our phone because that'll be funny.
Not a thing.
I could get like 130,000 people to email you fake orders for masks.
Dear Lord.
Can I get 50? Shannon said you can make 100 a day.
I told you about the person that wanted some stupid, like 180 masks or something. And I told him no. Because I can't.
You can't. Oh.
I can't. I'm booked. No.
Wow.
When people ask me for 2, I'm like, okay, I can do that.
Yeah, 180 that's more than 2.
Yeah.
You can quote me on that too. 180 is more than 2.
Sorry, no.
SMRT. All right. Thanks for all your support. And we will do this again soon.